Good morning. A tooth for a VOM Bible. I think you will find this interesting if you stay with me to the end. It all started about 2 weeks ago. I have a ministry at an assisted living facility called Pine Lodge here in Henderson, Texas. And I was out there, and one of the residents named Janet, she came up to me and she was asking me, could I help her get a VOM Bible? And that was because the week prior to that, I passed out a VOM magazine, and apparently she read it and found it interesting. And so she wanted a Bible, and I told her, okay, we'll get you a Bible, Janet. Okay. So time goes by. I put the order in. It took about 8 days to get it. I got it. And so fast forward to this past Monday, I believe. And I had the VOM Bible, and I contacted my daughter. And she said that her and her daughter would like to come out and meet me there, and we would present the Bible to Janet. So we showed up there at 5:30, and we presented the Bible, and then we left, and I went over to Mom's, and I was doing what I do over there, and then I got home about 6:30. So, you know, things were happening pretty quick. So what I do when I get home, I don't eat correctly because I don't know how to cook, and I don't have anybody, a wife or anything. So I take homeo meds, and I was sitting down on the floor, and I was taking the homeo meds, and I just took a capsule, and then I felt something in my mouth, and I reached in there and pulled it out, and I said to myself, that's crazy. That looks like a tooth. Well, it wasn't that crazy because it was a tooth. A tooth that was not loose, that was not hurting me or anything like that. It just totally fell out. And with all the spiritual warfare that I experienced, I guess I should have been visibly shaken, but I wasn't, because lots of very unusual things, they happened to me, and they have for some time. But it was a long night. Didn't sleep. Now the crazy thing, the tooth. Here I am today making this video. The tooth still does not hurt. There was no blood. There was nothing. So I reported this to my dentist the other day, and they're not going to be able to get me in and take a look at it until the 27th of October. Okay. So anyhow, I contacted my son JJ, and I mentioned this before, that he is gifted in this way, that he can ask questions to the Father and he gets immediate answers. What a gifting. And so I was talking to him, and I said, hey, just for kicks, why don't you ask and see if that was from a spiritual attack, the reason that I lost my tooth? And he did, and he said yes. He said, you want me to ask again? I said, yeah, do that. And so he asked again, and the answer was yes. And I said, okay. So I'm sitting around the house, restless, really couldn't sleep. So I got up and I walked outside, and I was going to go for a walk out here on my road. And so I turned on, I have a digital radio. I turned it on, it didn't come on. But what came across the screen was these three numbers, 111. I looked at that, I felt like that was my confirmation, because the number 11 is the number of chaos. And if you look at it going from left to the middle, from the right to the middle, you're looking at 211, so you're looking at double chaos. At this time, I got to thinking, was there a correlation between this and the presentation of the VOM Bible to Janet? And I got to believing that it was. And so I had a little more communication the following day with JJ about that, and I was telling him about it, and he seemed, according to the timing, that it all seemed to make sense, looking at it that way. So, anyhow, I was wrong on my timing of when we presented the Bible. It was on this day, and not today, but the day when I was talking to him about that. Sorry about that confusion, but moving along with it, we did go out there and we did present the Bible to Janet. And I noticed that when we walked into her room, I didn't think much of it, but her room number was 128. Okay, well, we did the presentation, and then here we was yesterday. I was over at Mom's, and I'd already told them about the loss of my tooth because I didn't want nobody freaking out when they saw me or anything like that. And so Mom and two caregivers and me was on the patio, and I was explaining this story, and I was prompted with that number as I was telling the story, 128, and it dawned on me that was my personal confirmation, because 1 + 2 + 8 = 11. Now, I don't know what y'all are thinking out there that's listening to this video, but I'm here to tell you that there is meaning in numbers. There is a message in numbers. Numbers, they have their own language. We speak the ABCs. I call it the language of the numbers. I call it the 1, 2, 3s. That, for me, it confirmed that it was a spiritual attack by the confirmation of the numbers, because the number 11 is the number of chaos. We presented a Bible to Janet, and less than an hour and a half later, I'm sitting here on my living room floor taking Homeo meds, and my tooth falls out of my head. No pain, no bleeding, nothing. So, what is the takeaway from this? Well, at the ministry the other day, I asked the residents there who all would like a VOM Bible, and there was about 10. I said, okay, I'm gonna order these Bibles, but I did have second thoughts, because I lost one tooth over in my thoughts in a presentation of a VOM Bible. What might happen to me if we present 10 more? And then I said, hey, no, wait a minute, I can't do that. That would be 10 + 1 = 11. I said, I'm going to order 12 Bibles. 12 VOM Bibles is what I'm going to do. Now, y'all might think me strange. You may think me out there. You may think I'm crazy. I'm not. But I am a guy that has one less tooth, and I believe it is because of the presentation of the Bible. It's spiritual warfare. I believe in it. You should believe in it. We're living in it. We need to pray. We need to put on the whole armor of God every day. But I hope you stayed with me to the end. I don't know if you believe this or if you don't, but I felt that I needed to bring this. But I haven't ordered the Bibles yet, but probably I'm fixing to as soon as I make this video. I hope it made sense to you. I really do. I hope it made sense. And I hope that Janet gets a blessing out of that Bible, and I feel that she would. But folks, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. Lucifer is real. Demons are real. Evil spirits are real. All I can say is put on the whole armor of God. Thank you so much. This is Mark Allen out. Love you.